Boston Celtics, Brooklyn Nets. Game four ends up ending with a Boston Celtics sweep. 4-0 on the Brooklyn Nets. There's a lot to get to here. To be honest, I don't even know where to start. You know what? We're gonna go ahead and start off with the let's go ahead and start off with the Jason Tatum. Um the final play that led to him being fouled out. It looked like he just fell over Goran Dragic in the fourth quarter. And at that point, I felt like that was definitely a turning point where the Brooklyn Nets could have definitely uh, took advantage of the opportunity and possibly taking this game. But back to the foul. Personally, I don't think it should have been an offensive foul. If it should have been any type of foul, it should have definitely been a defensive foul. It looked like literally Goran Dragic did some type of like jitto move with his leg and made him trip over him. That's what it looked like to me. But I just when you look at the Brooklyn Nets, it's really disappointing because the Brooklyn Nets coming into this season were one of the top teams as favorites in the East. Um, and obviously this whole thing just fell apart. And the fact that when you look at how this team was just put together, it was just it's basically put together on the fly. You made trades for Goran Dragic, you made trades for Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, and then you just have Kevin Durant and Kevin Durant, him having the injury during the season. Then you have Kyrie, he was only able to play home games. It just wasn't gelling. Now, let's just go ahead and just get into the game. Like when you look at this was going to be a consistent problem for Brooklyn. It's Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant or bust for them. And their inability to get the other guys involved showed big this game. Like when you look at the top scorers of this game, you have Seth Curry had 23 points and Kyrie had 20, Kevin Durant had 39. The rest of your offense, you need to get it from somebody else. You don't have anybody else outside of Seth Curry to possibly space the floor. Patty Mills is a little bit streaky. You don't know what he's going to give you every night. And then of course Goran Dragic, you don't know what he's going to give you every night. So you definitely going to need that needed somebody else to come in and do what they needed to do. And also when I look at the Brooklyn Nets, as far as the coaching situation, like I believe Steve Nash was stuck in between a rock and a hard place because he really didn't want to give up rebounding during the course of the game, but I felt like second chance buckets really paid huge dividends for the Boston Celtics during the course of this series. Bringing in Blake Griffin provided a spark for them down the stretch. Obviously, led to I believe it was two fouls on Jason Tatum leading to him being fouled out in the fourth quarter. But the biggest issue was Nick Claxton. Like he did everything that you could possibly do for Nick Claxton, but the issue was the fact that he just was not making his free throws. I believe it was like 1 for 9 or something like that. But you, as far as them searching for another player to put up at least a couple of points, Nick Claxton had opportunities to do that by his consistency going to the free throw line, and he just needed to hit some of those, and it possibly would have made a impact on this game. And I feel like when you a lot of criticism for Kevin Durant during the course of the series. A lot of folks that felt like Kevin Durant did not show up during the course of the series, and I don't want to make excuses for Kevin Durant, but it just got to get credit to the Boston Celtics, their ability to play that defense, and looking at that defense, it depending on how the Boston Celtics perform during the rest of these NBA playoffs. We're going to have to consider putting them in the conversation of possibly one of the greatest defensive performances of all time. Being able to being able to isolate and contain Kevin Durant on a consistent basis, even though tonight it was a different story. Kevin Durant is he was in survival mode tonight, 39 points. Outside of that exception, the Boston Celtics did a wonderful job of defending Kevin Durant, able to put a body on him at all times. Sometimes the Celtics were a little bit too aggressive, try to attack Kevin Durant and left open other guys on the floor, but they got the job done during the course of the series. Now, back to Kevin Durant. Look, you got to give credit where credit is due when it comes down to this Boston Celtics defense. They just did a phenomenal job on Kevin Durant, and it just came down to the fact that I feel like he was just done with it. He was literally played the whole game. I believe played what 45 minutes? Well, nearly the whole game. So at some point, it just took a toll on him. It literally just took a toll on him during the course of this series. And am I going to knock this on Kevin Durant as far as his legacy as a player? No. It just didn't work out. It just didn't work out for the ball for the Nets during this series. And Kyrie, I feel like Kyrie really turned it on in the fourth quarter. Like when you needed to get some buckets, Kyrie did turn it on, but it came down to the situation where you're stuck with defending Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown, and you just didn't have bodies for that. You literally just didn't have body for that. Jason Tatum, 29 points. Jalen Brown had 22 points. And like Jason Tatum's what 6'10, about 6'10. And it put Kevin Durant in foul trouble, so he couldn't guard him, which we're gonna get into Ben Simmons a little bit further down the road. But they just needed another body to go out there and defend these guys. And it's extremely difficult for you to do that and also be able to get rebounds on a consistent basis where they won't have second chance points to put the ball in the hoop. So on the flip side, the Boston Celtics. I don't want people to overshadow Jason Tatum's arrival as a superstar. And I say that, I believe, during the course of the series, literally averaging 30 points a game. Just dotting I's in this game four sweep, go home game for the Nets. Dotting I's tonight and doing his thing at the 3-point line for the Boston Celtics. And his ability to go out and play both ends of the floor consistently, offensively and defensively, it's very, very rare to see during the course of a game nowadays in the NBA. And I don't want to shorten out Marcus Smart because Marcus Smart too as well, as far as him having the reputation as being one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. It actually is turning into somewhat of a pure point guard, going out here distributing the basketball, and it works perfect for this defense, considering the fact he's literally that scrappy guy. But as far as the Baltimore Celtics is concerned, when I look at the East right now, because I believe they're playing the Heat if they end up pulling out that series versus the Atlanta Hawks. It's going to be a good matchup, considering the fact that Miami Heat like to shoot a lot of threes, and I feel like the Boston Celtics have the counter for what the Miami Heat like to do. It's definitely going to be interesting. And looking at the rest of the teams in the Eastern Conference, where we have the concern of Chris Middleton possibly missing extensive time, and that cripples the Milwaukee Bucks. Then we have Joel Embiid with the Philadelphia 76ers having that hand injury, and of course the struggles of James Harden. It's looking clear that Boston Celtics may be the favorite at this point. But before we close this thing out, what I want to do is we got to talk about this Ben Simmons situation. We do. because this whole thing. Okay, I get it. You don't want to play with the Philadelphia 76ers. Your teammates threw you under the bus. Your head coach threw you under the bus. Okay, I understand that. We passed that. But when we these last couple this last week, just this last week of the fact that Ben Simmons could possibly make a return uh they're in game 4 for the the Nets, that could possibly be an elimination game. I'm sorry. When they came out with the report yesterday, it was yesterday afternoon, Sunday, came out with the report where Ben Simmons is not going to be playing in game 4. I was just so disappointed. Like, I've been looking forward to seeing Ben Simmons play this whole season. I wanted to see how how he's going to bounce back from that Atlanta Hawks series. And I've just been disappointed again. Like, literally, when they made the trade, the Nets made the trade. I'm like, bet he's going to be able to come in, contribute, and he's going to be able. I'm that matchup that we all want to see is the Brooklyn Nets and the Philadelphia 76ers. And unfortunately, that has came up short. But honestly, I don't know what the situation is. It's either the back. They say it's the back. Then we turn around, we go back to the mental health issues. We don't know, but it's it's definitely not a good look. I'm not the type of person. If I don't have all the details, I'm not going to sit here and judge. I'm just going to say it's just not a good look, considering the fact just looking at the game 4 aspect of things, where you your team is in a winner go home situation. And Ben Simmons, regardless of the fact that you're hurt, like I would have been like, I'm going to agree with some of the professional analysts here on this. Even if you went out there for a minute or two just to show that you're hurt, if that's the situation, and it's clear that you're hurt, I can respect you enough for you to come out the game and be like, you know what, he did his thing. Look, he we gonna leave it all on the court. Cool, but I something, it just doesn't sit well with me where you just be sitting on the sideline, just watching your teammates, your brothers, go to war, and they lose at the time 3 games, and that's it. Not to mention, the social media posts. We end up dunking the basketball a couple days ago at telling the camera, the guy that was holding the camera, did you make sure you get this? Then of course the Instagram post where it shows him on the court with his shoes on. Ugh, it's just disappointing. It's really disappointing. But we're gonna continue to monitor this whole situation, even though I feel like it should have been dead and over already.
Nah for the bay. Nah for the bay. We don't care what you said. Nah for the bay. Nah for the bay. Nah for the bay. We ain't hearing what you said. Nah for the bay. Fire!